Hey, Corey.
Hey, Lisa.
I found a new podcast. Well, I met through social media some interesting women with a new podcast that I've checked out. And I sent it to you and you checked it out, and it's pretty cool.
Yes.
It's called Neurotic Nourishment, and the ladies put together a promo. And so we're going to play it for our listeners now. And we think that if you enjoy listening to Her Turn to Talk, you might be interested in checking out their podcast too.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Weisner from the Neurotic Nourishment Podcast. I'm a psychologist, an author.
Mom, where's my math book?
It's in the kitchen. Neurotic Nourishment is a podcast for smart, sweary women.
Mom, we're gonna be late. We don't have to be there for another 40 minutes. But I don't want to be late.
Neurotic Nourishment is a podcast where smart, sweary women can talk about real issues that matter. The truth is...
Mom, she punched me. He said I poured too much milk. She did pour too much milk. Mom, where do babies come from? Sex.
Neurotic Nourishment is a podcast where smart, sweary women talk about shit that matters. The truth is, no matter what we accomplish in our professional lives, for better or worse, we are always moms first.
Mom.
Hey, this is Corey Barnes.
And this is Lisa Caperton, and you're listening to Her Turn to Talk. Good morning, Corey.
Good morning, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm awake.
I'm super excited about this episode today.
You are?
Yeah,
Because you love yoga, and it's going to have yoga talk in it?
because I love yoga and our guest. And we'll tell you a little
I
more
haven't
about
met
our
her
guest
yet,
later.
but she sounds like she's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Speaking of yoga, did you watch the Bikram thing on Netflix?
Oh, yes, I did.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
I just don't understand.
Amazing.
I don't know. It's almost cult-like how that man gets these people, to pay, first of all, $10,000 to come to his classes, and then he treats them like crap.
Yep.
And he walks around in his nasty little Speedo with his micro penis. Like, where's his penis? I don't know.
I like how they, in the documentary, they said, he was an idiot. He's an idiot, but I mean, he figured it out, man.
He's disgusting. Truly. And I don't know how he's out there. Again, just another creep that's still out there.
I know, it's sick. It's
being
gross.
a creep.
It's amazing that he's out of the country now, still making that money.
I know.
But I understand the infatuation around yoga, hot yoga in general.
Have you done hot yoga?
Yeah, that's all I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought
that's not all I do, but
I didn't know that.
That's what I do. But my very first hot yoga class was at a Bikram studio.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it smelly in there?
Yeah, because everyone's sweating. It smells like a gym.
And farting?
No,
really
that's
fart?
not.
Is that a myth?
Travis,
Do people fart a lot in yoga?
No, I think I've heard people it slips out. People aren't just letting it go. People are like terribly embarrassed. And like,
I would just pretend like, it wasn't me.
If your foot like slides on the mat and it sounds like a fart noise, people get even more embarrassed because they're like, I didn't fart at you. People will even say it. Probably in my whole yoga career, which is probably, I've been doing yoga since, I guess I was 22 or 23. I think maybe 3 times somebody's farted.
Okay. And you took a class to be a yoga instructor too? Right?
Yeah. That was for yin yoga, yin restorative. And that was with our guest, Heidi. But yeah, that first Bikram class though, it's a totally different style. It's very militant, just like they portrayed in that documentary.
So like the instructor really kind of yells at people?
He was very firm. I was intimidated. I did not feel comfortable. And I went because a friend who I went to high school with, he'd lost a ton of weight. And he looked amazing. He was like glowing. And I was like, oh my God, I want that. And so I did. I took the class. But in the middle of the class, I was like, I'm gonna faint. This is like way too much.
Sweat out
It was
everything?
so hot. Well, yeah. And you're doing these poses.
Yeah.
And that very first time, it was very scary. And so it's scary as in I didn't know what to expect. And I was just so hot. And I left the room and the guy yelled at me, don't leave the room. Don't leave the room. And I was like, fuck this. I'm leaving the room. And I went to the bathroom, but I went back. But that was like embarrassing because like I got called out.
Did he not want you to like mess with the temperature by opening the door?
No,
or was
no.
he just like
I think it was
trying
because he wanted me to stay because that was the idea.
Yeah.
But you know what? I never went back to that
I
studio.
wonder if anybody's thrown up in there.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, people have thrown up. Definitely at where I go now at Core Power Yoga. But that was the one and only true Bikram class that I've ever been to. But I was so intrigued because I felt good, and I was so
You felt like shit, but then you felt good after.
yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. And then I found this other yoga studio, a girl who I worked with. I found a yoga studio, very kind. It was a woman-owned, female-owned studio. And I loved that studio.
Yeah.
And that's where it grew. And then when I moved here, I have the luxury of it right down the street. And I love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can go anywhere now and find yoga everywhere.
The hot yoga man. I don't know. Yeah, but that fascination and the almost obsession, addiction with, I understand where those people are coming from that get sucked into it. Because I have.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you ever do yoga?
Well, I have lots of muscle pain a lot, but basically my muscles are what's holding my body together. So like my connective tissue and my joints, my ligaments, all of that's too stretchy. So I'm basically double jointed everywhere, and I can stretch too flexible, too much. And so I've been told not to do yoga because it's very easy. I just naturally hyperextend. And so I can't, it's like stretching doesn't really do a lot. I can, stretch beyond the normal limits. And so that's actually, they don't want me doing that too much. And so they prefer, so for me, a lot of it's, I have to foam roll my muscles and keep my strength up. So that's why I do weightlifting. And
Have you done, you do weightlifting instead. Have you done yoga and felt bad after?
I've only done yoga a couple of times. I didn't necessarily feel bad, but I also didn't feel like I got anything because I can just do it's not difficult for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm just I guess some of I've done a strength one before, and that one was cool because it's a little different.
Well, they're all strength classes. But with what weights you're talking about?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
This one had, but it was but I've been to as many different doctors because I've had, I get into a lot of pain sometimes.
Yeah.
And, several different doctors have told me I've had an orthopedist and a pain management specialist doctors. And actually the pain management doctor is the one who gave me an entire packet about joint hypermobility that has all of it made so much sense after he told me this, because it has all these, along with anxiety, and I have to take medication because I have chronic heartburn, and all of these things kind of go hand in hand. And with me having to have a hysterectomy and prolapse at a very young age, it's just all of those soft tissues, those connective tissues are not doing, they're not strong, they're not doing their job. And so, they're like, don't do yoga, focus on strength.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do.
Yeah.
And even our friend, one of our friends who's a PT, I went to her house and did some stuff, and she was just everything. She's like, okay, do this. And then she's like, oh my God, you're so because it's for me, everything is just to get a feeling from it.
Yeah.
It has to be pretty much hyperextended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm curious. We'll have to run this by our guest today
I'll
because
be
I
interested to
think
see.
she has hypermobility.
Oh, really?
And I
Yeah.
never thought of you two.
Yeah.
I just because now that we're talking
Well, I'm sure
about
there
it,
are people out there who can
I'm curious,
do
or
it.
if there's a certain kind of yoga or something. But I have a feeling our guest has something similar, but not as much
I
research.
think probably a lot of it might be being mindful, because that's what our friend Maura, I went to her house and did some PT, and she had me do some kind of yoga stuff.
I remember that.
But it was very much trying to retrain my brain to make sure that I didn't hyperextend, because naturally I want to. And so having to focus trying to even because it feels very unnatural for me to not especially with my knees and my elbows for me to keep them in a normal position. It feels very awkward and it's hard. So maybe I could do yoga, maybe
I don't know. We'll find out more here. There's more to be revealed. I know. It's just because I want you to come to
so
yoga
I'm sure
class
it's probably
with me.
being mindful of not hyperextending and having that whole mind-body connection. Which,
the opposite of, because what I do is I try to push to my edge, which has led me to Achilles tendonitis, which has flared up again.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool.
Cool.
We're gonna have a great chat
we'll see
today.
what Heidi has to say.
With, Heidi today. We have I have a badass woman to share with you today.
Okay, I'm interested.
That interwebs into all of this beautifully. And her name is Jessica Parsons. Jessica is the first female yoga instructor with Down syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah. 23-year-old yogi Jessica Parsons is making history as one of the first yoga teachers with Down syndrome in the entire country. And she's teaching students everywhere to find inner peace. Jessica started teaching yoga at the age of 12.
That's awesome.
Having come from a family of yoga instructors, both her parents and all three of her sisters are all yoga teachers. She's super flexible. She can do yoga better than anyone in our family, Jessica's mom, Sue Ann, told popsugar.com. Jessica is currently teaching 2 weekly regular classes for all abilities at the Santa Barbara Parks and Rec Adaptive PE program. These super inclusive classes not only welcome yogis of all skill levels, but students of all walks of life, including students with disabilities and students with physical challenges. Every one of her students walk out of her class smiling, Sue Ann told Pop Sugar. We've gotten calls from all over the country from people telling us that she's inspired their children with Down syndrome to teach yoga too. Though Jessica's widely popular classes keep her busy, she still makes time to make handmade yoga essentials, including eye masks and ceramics.
Awesome.
And get this, she even has her own yoga DVD. Jessica and her sisters filmed the fitness video in high school for a school project. It has since made its round in school libraries all over the country and is even available online. I think it's on Amazon. Damn, girl.
That's awesome. Where did you find her?
I found her on doyoudoyoga.com and popsugar.com. And yeah, she's pretty cool. So you can find more information on there. We'll put that on the website.
Since 12, she's been doing that since. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. It's really cool when you hear about people who find like a passion when they're that young. And like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and to be brought up in a family like that. So we're always talking about how the yoga industry and the world in general needs to be more inclusive, to not only accept, but rather embrace diversity. So you can imagine how happy we were to invite our next guest onto the show, whose mission is to also provide inclusive yoga to all. I introduce ERYT 500 professional yoga therapist, Heidi Beachley. Hi, Heidi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're so thrilled to have you. And I have a question right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Do you have hypermobility?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Lisa and I were just talking about this. Yeah. So at the beginning of the show, we have a little interjection. I talked about the first female yoga instructor that has Down syndrome. So I just talked about her. And then Lisa and I were talking about how I have a yoga practice. That's how I know you. Mm-hmm. You are like my guru, truly.
Thank you.
If you looked at my account at Core Power, you'd see 90% of my classes is Heidi.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And I was asking Lisa, what does she do for fitness? And Lisa was saying that she does not do yoga because she has hypermobility. And so I was just curious. I thought,
I'm interested to talk to somebody who because I've always been told by my doctors, don't do it. They're like, don't do it. And so I've taken a couple of classes, but I really don't do it.
Well, for my yoga practice, I really focus on strength because I am so flexible. And I didn't know, I knew I was always flexible, but I didn't know until I was a little bit older. And I'm like, oh shit, what is this? Why is this hurting? And it's because I am so flexible. I'm really focusing on strength these days.
Yeah. And that's what I was telling Corey. I was like, I mostly do, I do some running and a little bit of cardio, but I do a lot of weight lifting just hiking,
So good.
for the same reason. Because my doctors are like, your muscles are what's holding your body together because everything else is crap. So you got to keep the muscles strong.
Oh, it's not crap.
Well, that was my word, not necessarily their word.
You're like,
I need to find a new doctor if they said that.
That's how. Yeah, I love hiking.
And would you tell us? Would you tell our listeners a little bit a little about the classes that you teach.
So I primarily teach for Core Power Yoga, and I teach all of the classes that they have to offer. Let's see, I teach sculpt classes, so yoga with weights, which is really fun. It's definitely more of a workout. Vinyasa classes, so we just flow, breath to movement. Hot yoga, hot power fusion, yin yoga, which is my love. And I love yin yoga just because it's accessible to everyone. Some people who can't make it into a mainstream class, and they can just do it in their living room.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they're all heated.
They are all heated except for yin yoga. And I have a love-hate relationship with the heat. Because when I can get there, my primary form of yoga is Iyengar yoga, which I love to practice. I love my teachers in Boulder. And they don't have a heated studio, so it's not really a traditional thing.
And what is that? What is a Iyengar like?
It's a very I don't know, it's very structured and like warrior two and hold it forever, and maybe not like that. Maybe not that dramatic, but I don't know, it just feels so good. Like they're very traditional and focused on we'll always do triangle pose. We'll always do a headstand. We'll always do halasana, plow pose.
And are you being instructed well, or is it on your own?
Yeah, no. I could do it on my own.
But in the class,
yeah. But I go see teachers in Boulder to practice.
So I mean, there's a lot of different yoga sequences and classes out there.
So many.
I mean, lots.
Yeah,
right?
there are lots.
Until I started practicing yoga, I thought there was just non-heated and heated.
Yeah,
but I didn't realize all these classes in between.
And
like your sculpt class with the weights, that's pretty cool.
That is insane.
Yeah,
those classes are so hard.
Yeah, they are hard.
Oh my
I've
God.
done a few with you. And your class on Thursday, the best class ever.
They're so fun.
Oh my gosh. Go see Heidi at Core Power on Thursdays.
.com.
Would you tell us, how did your yoga journey begin?
Well, this is really interesting. I've always been a spiritual seeker. I've always tried to understand God. Like, just who is this person? What is it? And I studied a lot of different religions growing up. And this is kind of crazy. My sister died. She died in 2004. She committed suicide. I don't know if it was an accidental overdose or not, but I think she was ready to leave. But after that, I was so lost. I didn't know what it was like to not have her in my life. She was my older sister.
Yeah.
And one of my girlfriends, her husband at the time got her a gift card to Core Power. And this was in 2004. This was December 2004. And she just fell in love, and she didn't know what to do with me. She just wanted to support me and help me through this. And she's like, Heidi, you got to keep going to go to yoga. And I resisted because I'm like, I'm too fat. I'm not in shape. Everyone's going to be skinny. I didn't think I could do it. And I was just so lost. I didn't know what to do. And I was sober too. I wasn't drinking or drugging. And I was like, all right, I'll go. And I actually went to a 6 a.m. hot yoga class. And I probably made it through about a half hour. I mean, I laid on the mat most of the time because I was like, holy shit, this is killing me. But I knew there was something special there. Like, I don't know what it was, but like from that moment on, I just felt like this is it. Like I fell head over heels for yoga because it was everything. It was mind, body, and spirit.
Wow.
And it was over.
Yeah. And then what happened? You went and got what happened next?
I signed up I really liked hot yoga because it was accessible to me. I was overweight. I wasn't in good shape. I didn't know how to take care of myself. So hot yoga for some reason was really accessible. Just 26 postures. You did them every time you went. You did it a couple times, and it felt like an amazing workout. I felt accomplished. Like I did something. And so they were mostly 90-minute classes back then. And then I saw some flyers at the studio for hot yoga teacher training, and I said yes. I just was like, I'm going to teach this. So it was kind of crazy. I was working at this phone company or some kind of like desk job. I was miserable in Longmont. And the hot yoga teacher training was way in Denver. It was like an hour drive. And I had to leave work early and bust my ass down there. And I don't know. I just felt like I was doing something, like being a part of something. And also it was about God too, like just healing and seeking God. I got my certificate. I was really good. I was still overweight. I was 205 pounds by the end of that training. And I had this story in my head about like, no one wants to hire a fat yoga teacher. Like there's no way. And I just kept practicing and showing up and kept putting it out there. I want to teach yoga. I was, Brandon Cox was the owner of the Core Power in South Boulder at the time. He's out in California now running some studios out there. I don't know. I'm probably making some shit up. Malibu? No, I don't. Are you there? Can you? But he called me one day. He's like, hey, I got a spot for you. Do you want to come in and interview? And I was like, hell yeah. And we sat down on the couch and we talked for 5 minutes. And he said, all right, Saturday morning, 8 a.m., it's yours. I didn't have to audition. I didn't have to do anything. He just wanted me. And I wanted it too. So that's how I started my journey.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. It was
So what, 16 years you've been working here in Boulder County?
Yeah. I mean, I've been
With
in
Core
Boulder
Power?
for Core Power. I don't even know how long I've been teaching for Core Power. I think I maybe started December 05 or 06.
You got to be one of the longest teachers.
There's a lot of long-time teachers out there, but yeah.
You're like, no,
very-
you got to be the longest though. There's a long time, but I mean, that's amazing.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I have a question for you. I just want to touch back on something real quick that you said. And in this seeking a God and seeking something, did that happen? Was that kind of something that was always in you, or did that come from your sister's death?
It was always in me. I remember I grew up Lutheran. I'm from Minnesota. Yeah. I grew up Lutheran, and we went to church Sunday morning. A few times I would just walk to church myself. Like it was really close. So I was like, I'm going to church. And I liked it. I liked studying the Bible. I liked learning about God. I liked singing. That was the best. After we lived in South Minneapolis, and then we moved to Apple Valley. And after that, we just stopped going to church. So I stopped. And one of my girlfriends in high school was going to a Catholic church in Burnsville, Minnesota. And she would just pick me up Sunday mornings, and we would go. And so then from there, I don't know what happened. I kind of fell away. I do know what happened. I was like, I'm not going to share this, but I am. She one Sunday morning, she didn't pick me up. And I was like, what the hell's up? Like, why? Oh, she's too good to pick me up. Like, but the night before I was working at Cousin Subs in Apple Valley. And there was an accident on the corner. Yeah. And there was like a bunch of fire trucks and ambulances. And we're like, oh shit, someone went down. And then that Sunday morning, the day after, she didn't pick me up. And that when I went to church that morning, because I was like, I'll just drive. I found out she died in a car accident. Yeah. So.
Oh,
I'm so
damn.
sorry. Yeah.
Whoa. How old were you then?
16.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I didn't think that was going to come out.
Oh my gosh. And like, I can feel that, like going to church, this whole idea, wow.
And I actually stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you just angry? Like,
I don't even know.
yeah.
I think I was confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how could that happen? Yeah.
Of
And you know
course.
what's
That makes
interesting?
sense.
I'm still friends with some people from high school I grew up with, because her name was Amy Santier.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up with her. Like, we did Girl Scouts together, played softball. That was a big thing for us. And it's every year on her death date, some people from high school kind of post like you know, rest in peace. You'll always,
And you're 16 years old.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck? What is
Right?
this? Yeah.
That's a big blow. That's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
That's rough. And what a beautiful thing to, share about it now.
I know. What
And
the
it's
hell?
stuck
I didn't
with
think
you.
that was going to come out, but it's
know?
like spirituality has really been something that's always been.
Yeah.
And what brought you back to seeking that again? Like, how did you heal from that?
Well, it was interesting. God, I've had such a crazy path. I think all of us have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's
the
what we're
hell?
learning for sure.
Like, what the?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And in the spirit of the show, right? It's so good. Everyone's got like a
Yeah,
story.
like
you
a
know?
story. So it's weird. Like when I was in high school, I played all the sports. I was in choir, I was in theater, but I was like the fat funny girl. Like I never dated. I never so I didn't lose my virginity till I was like 18, and I just wanted to get fucked. I was just like, I was like, someone just fuck me, please.
I'll take anybody.
So good.
So like I started like one of my girlfriends and I, we went shopping at the Mall of America.
The Mall of America.
The Mall of America, baby.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And we snuck into the sports bar. And we sat down and the waitress came up and my girlfriend was like, I'll have a Coors Light. You know, it's like a typical Minnesota drink, I guess. And I was like, yes, I will too. And she didn't ID us. So it was like, score, game on. So we stayed there all night. It turned into a dance club at night. And then there's like a karaoke bar. And we just partied and I got drunk and took someone to my car and fucked them.
And that was it. And that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
And now you were talking about you being funny.
Well, yeah.
And your story, stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But did that come shortly after?
Well, this is kind of interesting too. Like I always knew I wanted to be a comedian. Like from the time I was like 6 or 7, I was like, I just wanted to make people laugh. And because that was like a gift that I could give others. And yeah, so like after I like lost my virginity, I was like, all right, just kind of like going a little wild. And one of my friends was like, maybe you just need to get a boyfriend and stop.
And you were
doing
out
it.
of high
Like,
school at this time,
I
right?
was, yeah, I was working, going to college. And I met.
What were you studying in college?
I was just doing like the basics.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
going to, what was it, Inver Grove Heights
Core
in
class
Minnesota.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. Math. Oh my god. Oh my god. So yeah, so I did that. Oh, and so I just was partying a lot, and I met a guy. His name was Ed, and we connected really fast. But it turned out to be an abusive relationship. So I remember like. I don't even know what happened, how I got lost in that, but it's actually I do. It was really good sex.
Yeah.
It just like it's so weird, like the cost and payoff for
Sure.
things. It's
Oh,
like, but that I got lost in that. It was very abusive and not good, like not okay. And I lost myself too. It was like, how did this happen? Like this is, I don't even know. I'm a strong woman. Like how how'd I get here? And all throughout that relationship, it actually lasted 4 years, like way, way, way too long. But
It always
they
does.
always does, yeah. Throughout that relationship, though, I kept like thinking about comedy. Like I really want to get into comedy, but I know I can't do it with this man in my life because he'll be too jealous and I won't be able to do that. And there was and the spirituality, going back to that. So there were moments when we wouldn't be together, and an outlet for me. This is I went to the Mall of America. It's like the thing to do at that point in my life, I guess. And I think it was a Barnes and Noble shop or a Borders. I would get a couple, like a latte or something, and just sit there for hours and read books on Buddhism.
Oh.
And it really connected with me, the Buddhist tradition. So I actually even would go to churches and meditate and just sit there, and because I was just trying to find something. I don't know what it was, but it was like like God would she I like nature. I don't know what you are, but I know there is something out there. But it's like it's always been weaving in and out of my life and my path, no matter what. Mm-hmm. So during that time, I consider myself pretty Buddhist. Like I mean, I'm sure I killed a fly or something, but I don't know. Yeah. So then, I don't know. Where was I?
How'd you get out of that?
Yeah,
You're on the journey to being a comedian, but how'd you get out of that relationship finally?
Escaped. I finally escaped. I actually wound up changing my name through the courts. My sister had got a new apartment. He didn't know where she lived. It was far enough away. I stayed with her for a while.
It's a miracle you got out.
It was a miracle I got out. And I started working at temp agencies so he couldn't find me because it was one of those scary restraining order type things. Yep. And then I started one of my temp jobs. This is so interesting. One of my temp jobs, I ran into a woman named Amy Anderson. She's a comedian in LA now. And her daughter is actually on the show Modern Family. Like they're living the Hollywood lifestyle right now, kind of. I met her at a temp job. She refused to file. I'm gonna have to have her listen to this. It's so funny because she knows all these stories. She's been with me through this too. So I took her job and she went home for the day. I think she actually quit that job. She's like, I'm not gonna file. So, but I met her there and she was a stand-up comedian. And it was like, how did you get into that? And she goes, actually, my boyfriend does improv comedian classes. And I kept her number, and I think there was this big, huge snowstorm, and I called her during it. And she's like, can you call me back? It's like I'm stuck in like a snowstorm right now, or I'll just call you back. And she gave me some details, and I signed up. So I signed up for these comedy classes. It was like a 4-week series, and his name is Stevie Ray, and he had the 10 rules of comedy. And the final graduation, I think, was going on stage and doing my 3 minutes. And I did my 3 minutes and I killed. And
is that like a very long 3 minutes?
No.
It goes by fast.
Loved it.
You did.
I actually feel sometimes, this is like so weird. I feel more comfortable sometimes on stage than not. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what it is. Like just being in front of people. There's people who can't do it, and I'm not that person. Like
you're meant to be up there.
Yeah.
I feel the same. Well, with this podcast, I feel that way. It's easier to talk to strangers or people behind this, within this setting than if I was to just see you on the street. I would be totally quiet because I would feel like a dummy and wouldn't know what to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is easier.
Did you have to come up with your own jokes? Like, is there a whole format? And
yeah. There's the format really is premise, punchline.
Huh.
So it's the rule of 3, which is interesting because yoga has the rule of 3 too.
Oh,
and that's
funny.
The beginning, middle, and end.
That's right.
So it's pretty interesting. A lot of like rules of 3s, right? You've heard like, it always comes in 3s. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
And so what happened after that? Did you start working as a comedian?
It was on.
Were you going on
Game On.
different?
Yep, I signed up.
And you were out in LA?
No, I was in Minnesota, in Minneapolis,
okay.
which was a huge comedy scene. I'm like, what the hell? This is amazing. There was a comedy club every night I could go to.
Wow.
And I spent years in comedy clubs. I would go to comedians and write down how they got their material. I would write down their punchlines, like how they sold their material. I would watch famous people come into town. I would sign up for all the open mic stuff, and I got good really fast.
Yeah. What year was this?
97, 98.
Was
99.
it predominantly male?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
even now, I've looked to try to invite, some comedians on our show. And like one of the websites I went to had like a list of 30 comedians local. And I think 3 were female. I was like, what the hell is this not? Why is this not changing faster?
You know what it is too for this is my take on a woman comic is like you have to be better than a guy than a man, because as soon as you get on stage, for me, I think the men are gonna be like, all right, what's up with this bitch? Or I mean, I don't even know, but it's I feel like too, it's easy to be dirty and raunchy, but the real material is in the stuff that's not.
Right.
So I feel like you have to like really nail it to be, to win the audience, to win the comedy club owners, to win agents, to win everyone over. You got to be fucking good.
Yeah. And it's not just about, like, I was thinking, like, what better thing to laugh? Like, it feels so good to laugh, right? We just had a good laugh right there,
Seriously.
And like, but like it's competition. I mean, it's you gotta like you were saying, you gotta be good.
You got to be
or you're not
good.
gonna make it. You're not gonna. I mean, even get up there on that stage and be liked by people.
Well, and what you want to do too is hammer out your material at local open mics. Because if you go to a comedy club, so in Minneapolis, it was Acme was the big one. Knuckleheads was in the Mall of America. The fucking mall.
The mall. I mean, everything happens at the Mall of America in Minnesota. That's the place to be.
They have this they probably don't have it anymore, but the slogan, they're like, there's a place to go for fun in your life. The Mall of America.
You love them all.
I was like, yeah.
You love them all. Hell yeah, the mall.
The mall.
So that's wild. I mean, I remember when I first
so
found out that you were used to be a stand, are you still doing it at all?
No,
but you
in the yoga rooms.
I could yes in the room, and you were very funny.
Was it a supportive community or
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Community. We root each other on. And, at first I thought it was cutthroat, but I'm like, oh my God, we're all just doing this together.
Right. Yeah. Everybody just, because they all know how hard it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're good, like a female good comic, like you're going to get hired fast. And I did. I had some agents. I went on the road. But the drugs really took me down hard.
I was going to ask, like, what kind of got you out of it?
Yeah, so that's and I sometimes the drugs made me better. Like I was like, holy shit, I'm on fire, I'm lit, and then sometimes it didn't.
Yeah. Was that a community thing too, or just the scene?
There were
being
some comedians that would use, and there's some that don't.
Yeah.
I was one that wasn't going to. I promised myself I wouldn't, but then it just happened. And what happened was I started getting gigs on the road. I'm like, oh, I'm a real comic now. I'm going to do some coke. And that was it. Like I just started doing blow. Like it was great.
Off to the races.
Well, off to the races.
And that cocaine.
Yeah. And then what's interesting too, I when I would go on tour, because it's just you. It's not like I'm not touring with a band. I would always see the people in the bars who had drugs. Like I knew who had the drugs.
Yeah.
It was like now I would be like, I don't know.
I used to be able to spot them out just,
What is that?
I don't know. Not anymore though.
Is it like
gone.
a sixth sense, like a druggy
something
sixth sense?
Because we're in that path, when
that's
you're on
shady.
that, you're in
Takes
that
one
weird
to know
alignment,
one, right?
Oh my
weird.
God, yeah.
There's something about but yeah, I'm not the only one, right? We just heard it. It's so funny.
So I did a lot of drugs. There was a point where some comedy clubs and agents knew I would kill and they wanted to hire me, but they didn't know how I was going to show up, so they didn't. So but then I would go a different path or go try to be shady and sneak over here. And so I was on the road. Some of my comedian friends in Denver, I had some gigs out here in 2001, and I was a mess. I actually shaved my head. I was super skinny. I was going fucking crazy. Like I was like
Britney Spears style.
A little bit. That's
what I was going to say.
There's a shirt that says like something about Britney and
bless
like,
her heart.
Yeah, poor Britney. But anyway, yeah.
But it's like I get it. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
we all have this crazy ass path.
Yeah.
Well, then you become part of this machine almost, right? This show business machine. I don't know.
And like you said, it's fun, and then it's not, and then but then it's fun.
Have you been in show business?
No, I haven't. I don't know what I'm talking
You
about.
have though.
I guess I'm watching TV. That's where I get like half my knowledge. I was telling my husband the other day, we were talking about something about brain surgery, and I was telling him all this information. He was like, how do you know this? I'm like, I just know. He was like, you got that from Grey's Anatomy. I'm like, no, I just know. But really, I'm like, no, I got it from Grey's Anatomy.
brain surgery.
Oh my God, awesome. I saw a yoga student the other day with a Grey's Anatomy sweatshirt. It was so awesome.
I love that damn show.
I know, I do too.
Do you call it the GA?
I don't. Do people do that?
I don't know. I would. I think I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna watch a GA.
I just say Grays. Grays is
The Grays.
The Grays.
My husband walks in
Grays.
when I'm watching, and he's like, "This show, it needs to be over." I'm like, "No, it can go on. It can live forever."
How long has it been on?
I don't know. Forever.
A decade at least.
Yeah. More.
Christ,
I
it
don't know.
keeps
Like
going.
20
How
something
many-
seasons.
We're
I don't
going
know.
way off. How
I
many
don't know.
different things? Heidi and I, speaking of anatomy, we went to a cadaver lab.
So good.
We went
Right,
off topic.
because
I
you
don't care.
took a
We'll bring it
class
back
with
afterwards.
Heidi, and
Yes.
Heidi was your teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
took-
love studying the human body.
Yes. I can't. I think about it all the time.
What do
I
you
still
think
talk
about?
it. What do I think about?
Yeah, when you think about the cadaver lab.
Oh my
What
gosh.
do you remember from it?
Everything.
The foot. Remember the foot?
The foot,
first
the
thing.
IT band, and just how strong that was. It was, and just in general, the room. There was this peace in the room, and just the general respect for this body. This was a human. This is a human. That's on the table, and the people who were facilitating what was going on, just how respectful they were, and like. It was just amazing to see the inside out.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. And I can't stop thinking. I mean, I think about it all the time. It was the coolest experience
Is
ever.
that what
where
you're going to do with your body?
I have the
when you die?
pamphlet in the back seat of my car in the
Wow.
little pocket. In the little pocket. I take it out all the time, don't I? I'm so weird. And I do. I need to get off the donor.
Are you going to donate your body?
Yes, I'm going to.
Is that what
Yeah.
you're going to
Those
do?
folks.
Yeah.
I got to get off the donor list but that was thank you. That was an amazing experience, and
So
that's something
amazing.
just back into my past in general. I've always been fascinated with anatomy and the human body in general. And along with my fascination with yoga, and to put those two things together while you're practicing, and then get an injury, and then and just God, it's just beautiful in there. And then to see that. So what for our listeners, we got to see a body that was very healthy, a farmer, if I remember correctly. And then a woman who did not have a healthy lifestyle. And the beauty of this program, I can't think the name of it.
I don't know.
I'll drop it on the website. But
Okay.
they typically get the background of the folks that of the bodies that they get, and then after a year of being able to experiment and use their bodies, they do cremate the bodies and give it back to the family, which I think is also a wonderful thing. But anyway, we got to see these two different bodies, and just like
The woman was a
lungs.
rock star.
Yes!
She was like straight up, I eat at Dairy Queen. I drink every night. I
Yes.
smoke a pack a day. Like,
Yep.
like she
And
told
lots of
us her
weed.
story.
Like she was you knew everything about this woman. And then and I mean, you could see what had gone in her body because of the food that she ate and all that business. And then that farmer, it was so
He was
cool.
ripped.
He was just ripped, and he had a pacemaker. We saw a
Yeah.
pacemaker. I could go
that
on
was
and on.
beautiful. The pacemaker.
It was amazing.
What we saw, I'm like all looking at the microphone, like, cross-eyed, because I don't know what just happened there. What we saw was with the gentleman with the pacemaker, his body formed a pocket for his pacemaker. Like it just like the body was so intelligent and beautiful how it just hugged his pacemaker in and just like
My
accepted
dad has a
it.
pacemaker.
Oh, it was so
So
incredible.
he has a pocket.
So thank you for that
got a pocket.
opportunity.
He's got a
If
pocket.
regardless if I do your next teacher training or not, I want in if you guys are
Okay.
going to do that again.
Yeah, we are doing it. I
gotta
always
reach
want
out
to do
them.
that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll make sure because that was just amazing.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I have a
so
question
thank you.
for did you have something else to say about,
Nope, that's
about the
it.
cadaver?
Sorry.
I wanted to touch on something because I do think that listeners would want to know this, and I know that there's many people out there who can relate. But you were talking about wanting to be a yoga teacher, but being overweight and and not thinking that people would hire you. And you did find somebody, and that perseverance that it took. How did you keep that up and not just give up?
Honestly, like I really wanted to teach, but I knew yoga was a part of my path regardless. And I knew there was a spot for me. This was my path.
Are you really encouraging now for when people come in like that are new and to say like it doesn't matter what shape, size you are?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
I'm just so happy people come onto their mat. It's so incredible.
Yep.
Just like all the stuff I've learned on this path. And the more I learn, the less I know. It's insane. It's such a vast path.
Yeah.
You watched me lose 30 pounds last year.
Yeah,
It's a direct result of this woman. Like, seriously.
Well, and you have lost, you look very healthy to me and very fit to me.
She looks damn good.
Yeah.
I'm ripped now.
Is that something that you were like actively trying, or is that just something that kind of came naturally?
What's
after you were
interesting?
practicing?
My mom is obese, and she always has been. It's just that's part of her path. And growing up, I watched her try several diets and fail. And I did them too. I went to Weight Watchers with her. I tried Slim Fast. My sister was overweight. It's just a family thing. Everyone's big in my family. And I go home and everyone's like, "You're so skinny." And I'm like, I'm pretty healthy. Like, no. But there was one point, this was about 6 years ago, where I was still I was maybe still about 30, 40 pounds overweight. Because that was just part of my story. Like, I'm never going to be a skinny bitch. It's just, I'm just a big bitch. Like, that's kind of how it's like. But there was a moment where it was really heavy in my Iyengar practice. I had a knee ache. My mom had been diagnosed with diabetes type 2. That's the one you get when you're older and you haven't taken care of yourself. And I had this I actually led a yoga retreat to India like 2 weeks later. And I decided then and there, I'm like, I have to get my shit in order. And I started the Conscious Cleanse with Joe and Jules in Boulder, and it changed me. I was determined, and I learned how to eat. I learned how to take care of my body, and I released about 40 pounds, I think, and I've kept it off. This will be my 6th year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm not like perfect. Oh my God, I love to eat like shit. I mean, that's
but who wants to have to struggle all that? Like, gosh, it's so. I just want to
80-20
be happy, right?
Yep,
I'm reading the book right now.
Yeah.
I'm reading the Conscious Cleanse, and hopefully I'll get Joe or Jules on the show here.
Oh my God,
because you've been talking about it, which got me to get the book, and then I think you guys are leading.
I'm going to lead a cleanse in January.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll have to include that book on our
I will.
website.
And I love that way of thinking, and just to hear your experience that it worked.
It worked, and it's interesting too. I had gone to a knee surgeon before, and he's like, "Yeah, you got to get this fixed," and I'm like, "No, I need to lose weight."
Yeah.
Because it's like, isn't it like for every, I don't even know, pound, there's all this extra weight on your joints.
Right.
And did you ever have to get surgery?
No. Nope. I actually ran a half marathon on that knee. Yeah.
It's amazing. Just
I know.
changing the way we eat
Yep.
can heal our bodies.
Yep.
Hear that over there?
It's true though. It is true. I didn't even know what kale was until I did the Conscious Cleanse. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Do you ever work with yogis who have disabilities?
I do. Actually, both my parents are disabled, so I grew up with people in wheelchairs. And my dad played wheelchair basketball and softball, and so it was that athletics was a lifestyle for me, but also being with people with disabilities. So I do have a client right now who is paraplegic, but he is trying to walk again. He's doing everything within his power. He had a thing called cavernous malformation, which is a stroke on the spine, and it's part of his DNA. And people have actually walked again from this. And I have never, ever seen someone so determined before in my life to get something.
That's
And
awesome.
he inspires the fuck out of me.
And how do you work with them? Is there modifications, props? What do you
I move his body around. He moves his body around.
actually physically help?
Yeah, he comes to the studio sometimes when he can,
I've
get
met
there.
him.
Yeah. I fucking love him so much.
Hell
He's
yeah.
he's just this heart energy man too.
And he's got a twinkle in his eye.
Oh my God. I don't know. I love him so much. And I know he's going to walk again. I know he's going to walk again, and I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember the first time I heard, what the heck is going on in the back of the yin room? I kept hearing a chair moving around.
Yeah.
And that was the first time there's these chairs, and it's actually missing the back of the, to sit on it. There's these really cool prop chairs. And there was Heidi in the back working with this gentleman and another yoga instructor. I can't remember her name. Kathleen. And I was like, oh my God. I couldn't, because at first I was irritated. But what the fuck is that noise?
I'm trying to
And I was like,
relax.
shit. I was like, oh my God, Corey, look what's going on back there. Do not jump to conclusion. But what better place to learn that in that yoga class? But that was a long time ago. Amazing that you can, just yoga in general can be accommodated to people of all walks of life.
Yeah, everyone. I got my yoga therapy degree. I think it was 2010, and you could even do yoga with your hands. I'm just saying, like, if someone's going through it, like I did my practicum on yoga for cancer survivors, and if someone's going through chemotherapy, you can just go in and give them a yoga nidra session. Like my mom had a massive stroke 2 years ago. She could do like mudras with her hands or hand gestures. There's yoga for everybody, which is just it's incredible. Even breath work is yoga, pranayama.
And people who like athletes.
You
work with athletes, don't you?
I work with I have my CU buff guy moved to Toledo, but I was working with the CU Buffs football players for a couple years there. He was coming to my Monday night, and I think I don't know if you saw him, but
I know who that is too.
His practice changed. His running got better, his squats got better, he got stronger as a result of yin yoga, of yoga for athletes. And I would certainly, I don't know, I love working with professional athletes because they're always so amazed by like how it works in their performance. So I do love working with athletes too.
My man Joe Rogan, we can drop his link. I love Joe Rogan. Speaking of comedians too, but he practiced Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I said it right.
All right.
And he complements it with hot yoga, and he's always raving about it. And he's a big, bulky guy.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about different sizes, shapes, whatever. I mean, he loves it. And so I love when he talks about it too, because, and like we just said, yoga can be for everybody. And I can share as well, like that. It's changed my life. I keep wheezing. It's completely changed my life. The way I think, just who I am outwardly in the world. And I know that it has just influenced and changed people's lives all around the world. And it's been going on for ages,
I mean, I don't think I would be here without the practice of yoga. Like if my girlfriend didn't get me to yoga, I mean, who knows where the fuck I'd be.
Kind of get you out of a dark place.
It keeps getting me out of dark places too.
And
That's
you said something about leading a retreat in India?
Yeah, I've led several retreats in India. The last one I led was in the Himalayas. We trekked on the India-China border, and we actually did this trek called Chardam, which is a trek that a lot of Hindus want to go to before they die. So we trekked to the birthplace of Ganesha, which was very, very powerful. We got to see Poverty's bath and where Ganesha was born. And this was pretty interesting. One of my yoga students had no idea. He was like, I just want to go to India. We camped out and he woke me up like the next morning, or I woke up, whatever. He didn't wake me up like, no. In a tent. What are you doing
I love over exaggeration.
I know,
it's just kind of my thing.
He was scratching. And we were just drinking. I think it was after our morning yoga session. He came out and he was like, Heidi, I had this dream last night. There was this like big elephant head floating towards me, and it was like kind of like an acid trip. There's like all these like lights around this elephant head floating in space towards me, and I'm like, what the hell? And I said, we're at the birthplace of Ganesha, right? And he was like, no. And I was like, Ganesha came to you in your dream.
Whoa.
He's like, oh my God. Like it just was like this, one of these spiritual experiences.
Yeah.
We also trekked to Gurmukh, which is one of the sources of the Ganges.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was really powerful because there was a lot of pilgrims, like a lot of people praying on the path. And it was so awesome.
Cool.
A lot of donkeys. A lot of donkeys.
How long did that last? Like how long?
2 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Do you have any of those coming up?
I do. I am doing a India trip over Thanksgiving next year. I think it starts the 22nd. I should probably know.
Let's take a peek.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to go, this time we're going to go to Mumbai. We're going to go to Goa. Of course, go to a ton of temples, see some priests, do yoga. There's a yoga ashram we're going to stay at in Goa. And then we're going to stay at an Ayurvedic spa. We'll take a boat ride in Kerala, on the backwaters of Kerala, which is really, really powerful. It's always powerful. It's almost like a different world going. And that the neatest thing that sticks out to me about India is someone's always praying.
Yeah.
There's always someone outside your window, outside the van, outside. Like it could be like a mountaintop, like a 1-lane road that had just fallen and broken and people are building it. There's someone praying like right on the side. I mean, there's good reason they're praying because you might roll over and off a cliff, but like, but just like there's temples everywhere. And I think that's the biggest thing is just like the devotion. And I'm not saying like it's just like here, right? There's people who are religious and people who aren't, but there's so many people there that it's like, it's just out in the open. All the prayers. It's
and leading
so
these
cool.
retreats. This is part of your business.
It is part of my
I
business.
mean, this is you're making money. This is your life.
Yeah, it is.
This is cool.
Yeah, I love it.
You
I
have a
love
beautiful
it.
website.
Well,
Thank
it
you.
sounds like you have this career that helps guide your health journey. You know what I
does.
mean? And so you've kind of been able to integrate these two. That's really awesome.
I feel so blessed. I don't even know how I got this path. And I just like every day I'm just like I feel so grateful. I'm just like, oh my God, this is my life. Okay, not every day. Sometimes I'm a cranky bitch. Like,
We're not all crazy on the same day. Thank God.
Exactly. But I don't know. I just feel really blessed, like how grateful for this path.
What does it mean, ERYT 500, when you see that at the beginning of a professional yoga therapist's title?
I do register with Yoga Alliance, and
Oh, that's RY.
yeah, so experienced registered yoga teacher, and 500 means I've took another 300-hour training beyond my 200.
Wow.
Yeah. I've studied a lot. Like not all the trainings count for that. I've studied with Sarah Powers, Paul Greeley, Judith Lassiter, Darren Main, Laura Cooperman. I mean, there's a lot because I feel like in order to be a good teacher, I have to be a good student because I want to grow and I want my students to grow.
And you never traded with Bikram, right?
No, I didn't.
Did you
I heard
watch
it was
the Netflix
incredible.
thing?
I
Oh.
haven't.
Okay, well, you won't think it's so incredible after you watch the Netflix documentary.
I know.
But I imagine in that world,
Well,
I mean,
yes,
right?
It's one bad guy doesn't mean. Well, I don't know because he just. I don't know.
He
I don't
just
know.
has a dark side. We all have a dark and
Yeah.
light side.
But then they
Just
said he
like,
made a lot of it up.
oh shit.
Like he stole it. He stole it from somebody else.
Gosh.
Well,
And
no,
then-
that he
right?
didn't. I thought that was his teacher.
That
he
was
didn't
his
steal
teacher.
that.
Wow.
Like,
But
that
he
was-
took credit for it.
Did
And
he? He
yeah.
didn't take. Oh, that's
Yeah,
too
that was
bad.
the whole thing. Is he? So
I mean, it's just like
it doesn't mean the practice is bad. It means he tainted.
but you were
his
in the
part
yoga
as well.
world when that was like booming on fire.
Yeah, when shit was real.
Yeah. When like people, that's what everybody wanted to do.
Hot yoga.
That's how you were going to be the best of the best and open up your own yoga studio. Have you ever considered opening up your own yoga studio?
Oh my God. Yeah. I actually worked with Yoga Pod at one point. I was going to open a couple up in northern Colorado in Loveland and Fort Collins. And I actually I worked on my pro forma. I negotiated a square footage lease space, like build out in a building. I was ready to go. And then I went to India for a month and studied with the Iyengars. And I changed my mind because I want something more traditional. If I were to ever open my own yoga studio, I want it to be no mirrors. Like I don't even think I'd have retail. Like I want it to be yoga.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like it all is yoga.
Right. But
But-
maybe a less corporate feel.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. And that's one thing I think I have a question about is what do you think about, because when I'm super cheap, I'll be the first to admit that I'm like way cheap.
Super cheap.
I'm a petty bitch, but unless I go to Target or something. But I always feel like, oh, that's so expensive. It just seems so expensive. And what do you say to people who say that? Because I know that you could find something on YouTube and go watch it, but is it the same doing it in your living room for just people out there who are wondering, or are there affordable places that you can go to that aren't $100 a month,
I do have some YouTubes. They are done in my living room. I do practice on my own, but not often. I rather study with a teacher. There's something to be said about studying with a teacher. For me, it's that hour, that 90 minutes. I don't have to control anything really. I get to listen. I get to be directed. I don't know. I like being a student. And honestly, like my dream, if this could ever happen, throwing it out there, is to open a nonprofit yoga studio, more like a donation base, because I have to make a living, like I have to pay my mortgage, and eat chocolate, but and kale. That's it, chocolate and kale. Just kind of balance it out, yin and yang. But yeah, like I would love, like if I could just. That would be incredible to do a donation base, because I don't think yoga is accessible to everyone, because it is so freaking expensive.
It is, yeah.
But I want it to be, because it's like this, oh my God, this practice is so amazing. Like I don't even know. It's changed my life. I keep seeing it change. Like it changed Corey's life. It changes people.
Well, universe out there, listen to Heidi and her wishes.
Give me some money so I can open a donation-based yoga
Let's make it
studio.
affordable for everyone. Because I do feel like
flock.
there is probably, and I don't know, like again, I'm not an expert. I don't know facts, whatever. This is all coming out of my ass. But that there's got to be this class that, that of people that don't experience yoga necessarily because it is so expensive, or it can be so expensive. I don't know. Maybe there are some affordable ones, but the ones that I see, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot.
It is a
and
lot.
sometimes one class can be as much as like, going to the rec center for a month, And
It is.
I don't know.
It is. It's
But I know they have yoga at the rec center, but I know like it's not as many offerings of classes and the different types.
Well, it's like I don't I was teaching at a kind of a rec center in Boulder, but they pay me like not a lot.
Not a lot, yeah. And I know, I get that. Like people still need to get paid and they still want to make money, and you got to pay for a place to have it and all of that too.
Yeah, but it is a business. Like like yoga is big.
It's definitely
big,
brilliant.
Yeah,
big business.
It's brilliant. Big business. Big business. I mean, it's brilliant though too, because like we're working with, talking about the hot yoga, 26 postures. That's it.
Well, and that's the thing too, is you're putting in, you people that are instructors,
people.
you people that are instructors. But you're also putting in a lot of work and a lot of dedication to do what you do. It's not like you're just coming in off like you got to pay for for quality also. I get that too.
Yeah, I have to train. Like
and
I
you deserve
have
to be paid what you're worth also.
Yeah. Well, that is not like the teacher story though. Like all teachers in general, like across everywhere, like teachers, I think teachers should be paid the most.
Oh
yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're educating our children, like our future leaders, and like they are paid shit. Like, I don't want to say that. Universe, teachers are paid good. Come on, let's do it. Let's manifest.
They need more.
And in these metro areas and stuff like that, and as long as you're not in the middle of nowhere, there is lots of opportunities for free yoga in the park. For donation based classes. Every once in a while, Heidi just had one on Thanksgiving. I don't know if it was donate. It doesn't matter. But there's other classes. $5 yoga down at Yoga Hive. There's aerial yoga down here downtown. But there's lots of opportunities, and there's places that first week is free, or first 2 weeks is free. So it's not like impossible. It's not. You just got to look around and search.
Yeah.
You could probably do free yoga for a year.
I believe you could.
Out here
just
in this
kind of bouncing
area.
around from place to place.
Yeah. You have to be smart about it. But
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here, Heidi, and talking
was
with
that
us.
An hour?
Almost an hour. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know, time flies.
It goes by fast.
That was so fun. I know.
That
I
was
wish
really
we could
fun.
talk. I could talk for another half an hour.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Is there anything else you want to talk to us about? We don't have to stop.
Do you want to talk about the vibe?
Well, I mean, like the one thing about my story too is the whole comedy thing. Just rolling back, one thing I didn't mention, because you were like, how did you?
Yeah.
When I had some gigs in Denver in 2001, and a couple of my comedian friends did an intervention on me, and they brought me to a rehab in Boulder, and I got sober and I stayed.
Wow.
I haven't been like, I don't know. I think it's a journey of sobriety too, is going in and out sometimes. But yeah, I mean, with that, with that, and then my sister's death, that is how I found yoga. But I feel like it's always been here.
Yeah.
On this path.
And is
so.
that how you ended up in Boulder too? That's what I was curious. Was that your
Yeah.
first experience
Yep, I
in
stayed.
Boulder?
Yep, that was it.
What amazing friends to do that for you.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Instead of, yeah.
I have the best friends in the whole world.
Yeah.
Are you still friends with those people?
No. Maybe
Well,
on
they're missing
Facebook.
out. But what a cool story.
Yeah, thank
And
you
then-
guys so much for letting me share it.
Yeah.
Oh my
and then
gosh,
your world
yes.
just blew open even more.
It
You know?
keeps blowing open.
That's amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to have you back on.
Yes.
Hear about the next adventures of Heidi Beachley.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Thank
and
you
thank you
guys
so
so
much. And
much.
thank you for being so open and vulnerable and just, opening up to us. It was really special. Thank you so much.
Would you like to plug your website before we wrap it up?
Yes. My website is yogawillow.com, like the tree, Yoga Willow. And yeah.
Yeah, we'll put your link
Check
on
her
our
out.
website too. So
Aw,
people can go
thank
check
you
it
so
out.
much.
Thank you, Heidi.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
If you have an interesting story, something funny, something sad, something you want the world to know, please email us. We want you to share your experiences with us. We'll take these, we'll collect them, we'll do some episodes sometimes where we'll read them. So if you want to be anonymous, please just let us know. We won't read your name. If you want your name read, then we will. But send us those stories, comments, to info@herturntotalkpodcast.com. And we also ask, if you like what you're hearing, please rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you.